Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. This is Roaming Prepper Channel. I'm your host, Pete. My camera is a little crooked. Sorry about that. Um, Thank you for joining me once again for the Monday afternoon situation report. I used to do the sit reps all the time years ago when I first started, and I'm going back to it now. So for those of you new, because I have quite a few new subscribers lately, just so you know the layout. It's a compilation of publicly released information, both from civilian, governmental, and corporate sources. I will give you the sources where it's applicable. And that starts by region of the earth, so like Africa and then Asia and so on. It goes in that order. And then within each region, it's alphabetical by country. So there's no real, it's all alphabetical. It's not like one preference over another country. So in any case, no further ado, I'm going to get going on this. So, Africa, Ethiopia, at least 71 killed in an Ethiopian road accident. Damn, that's a big accident. A truck packed with passengers plunged into a river, according to a person in the southern Sidama region. That's something actually I've had a lot of my fellow colleagues in my industry deal with. They go to remote locations, and if you have to get on like a public or a hired transport, the roads are scary as shit, and it's totally conceivable. You see those movies where they're going through the mountain pass in that janky bus with chickens and shit. Well, apparently that actually happens. So if you go overseas, plan out your trip accordingly. Make sure it's legitimate transport. Apparently this truck just flipped over a hill and down it went into the river, and people died. Unfortunate, but again, something to think about if you travel overseas, especially to the emerging nations. Mozambique, over 13,000 Mozambicans flee to Malawi amid post-election violence. Thousands of Mozambicans, I think I said that right, have fled to Malawi and to escape violence triggered by the disputed presidential election. So apparently that's the thing. Everybody wants to be angry about their elections. That's from Voice of America. Somali security forces repulse a suicide attack by Islamic State. Oh, that's cheerful. Security forces in Somalia repulsed an attack by IS suicide bombers on a military base in the northern region of Puntland on Tuesday. The local state broadcaster military officials said. So there's a lot of terror activity. Not just, we recently had the New Orleans incident. There's speculation that Las Vegas wasn't terrorism, it was a message being sent by a special operations guy who now they're thinking may be alive. If you haven't seen the Sean Ryan video, I would encourage you to do so. And also, by the way, Sean Ryan has actually gone on retreat with his family to their family property out in the boonies. Like he left the city, and his producer is now taking calls and emails on his behalf. Like he's gone off grid for a while after making those disclosures. I don't know what happened. That's we'll get into that separately. In any case, lots of things going on. I don't know necessarily if it's because Trump got elected. I think it's just the world's been on fire for years, and now it's really starting to burn, or it's been simmering and now it's burning. I don't know, however you want to phrase it. Okay, moving on. East Asia and Pacific. South Korea. South Korean court approves the arrest of President Yoon in martial law investigation. South Korean court gave authorities approval to arrest the sitting president Yoon Suk Yeol, I think I said that right, after he was impeached and suspended from power for imposing martial law, marking the first time that a sitting president in the country was arrested. That's concerning because South Korea, we have a lot of troops there, and it's a very important ally, but we have a lot of troops there. So if the government collapses, we got a lot of Americans vulnerable to attack from around. So I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully they can settle that. Thailand, holiday road accidents claim 100. Oh, and the South Korea story was Associated Press. Sorry about that. Thailand, the Bangkok Post states that holiday road accidents claimed 143 lives across Thailand. The number of road accidents in the first 3 days of the New Year holiday travel near 900 accidents with more than 140 fatalities. Damn. Europe. Moving on to Europe. That was it for East Asia. Europe. Committees in the German Bundestag hold a debate to determine if Magdeburg attack was preventable. Two Bundestag committees have launched a debate into the tragic attack on a Christmas market in the German city of Magdeburg that killed 5 people, including a 9-year-old boy, on 20 December. This is from Euronews. Keep in mind, that was also a vehicular ramming attack, just like New Orleans. The guy came in, he actually used what they call a lorry over there, like a big, it's a box truck, a panel truck, and he just into the market. I believe that's what he used. He used a truck. Moldova, no heating, no light. Moldovans fear looming energy shortages. Russia halts gas supplies. On January 1st, Russia's state-owned energy giant Gazprom is set to halt gas supplies to the European Union candidate country over an alleged $709 million debt for past supplies, a figure fiercely disputed by Moldova's pro-Western government. So that's going to suck a lot. That's from the Associated Press as well. Russian-Ukraine. Moscow and Kiev complete a mass prisoner swap. This is from Politico. Warning Russia and Ukraine exchanged some 300 prisoners Monday in a deal brokered by the United Arab Emirates, because the U.S. is neck deep in Ukraine and China's neck deep in Russia, so somebody else had to broker it. Kind of sad that we're not included in that stuff. Middle East, North Africa, Iran. Iran confirms the arrest of an Italian journalist, according to the BBC. Iranian authorities have confirmed that for the first time that Italian journalist Cecilia Salah was arrested in the country on the grounds of violation of the Islamic Republic laws. Which one? People, we often forget, Europeans and Americans are notorious for this. We go overseas and we do shit that we do here, and we may or may not get arrested here, and you do shit in other countries, and they beat your ass and throw you in jail, and they won't let you call a lawyer or anyone. You just sit in a jail cell for 6 months before they decide to have your hearing. And then they're like, well, I'm an American, I have rights. Y'all don't have shit when you leave this country. For real. You have jack. Maybe in Canada you have some, in Europe, yeah, sure. You go to Iran, you have no rights. Okay, so understand that when you travel. Understand what you're getting into. What I'm wearing right now on my as my clothing, my t-shirt, my little camo hat, if I were going overseas, this would be some generic weird color, and I would not be wearing anything with any kind of flag in an Islamic country that hates us. That's just stupid. And the fact that she's a journalist, she probably said something they didn't like. Now, keep in mind, violation of the Islamic Republic laws can range from she didn't have her burqa appropriate in her hair show. That's a violation. She tried to drive a car. That's a violation. It could also be she made fun of the Khomeini. That's a violation. Punishable by arrest. No hearing. You go to jail. Do not collect go. Do not go to go. Do not collect $200. Jail. So remember these things when you go overseas. Moving on, Israel, Yemen. Israeli army says intercepted missile launched from Yemen. This is the Arab news. The Israeli military on Monday said it had intercepted a missile launched from Yemen before it crossed into Israeli territory. That's an ongoing thing over there. Moving on, South and Central Asia. Afghanistan. The Taliban say they will close all NGOs employing Afghan women, from the Associated Press. That is non-governmental organization. The Taliban say they will close all national and foreign non-governmental groups in Afghanistan employing women, the latest crackdown on women's rights since they took power in August of 2021. So for the record, and other things, women cannot go to school. Women cannot go to all-girls school either. Women cannot use computers. They may not have cell phones. They cannot drive. They must wear their attire appropriately. And now the new law is, without the permission of 2 husbands, 2 women cannot talk, even if it's mother and daughter or sisters. Because it is forbidden for women to hear each other's voices without the consent of the man in the house. So again, you go overseas and, you know, like these stupid TikTok girls, and they go overseas and they do something there, they're going to jail. And in that country, you're a Western woman, and other things will happen to you. So plan your trips. Be careful. My daughter and her fiance just went to the Middle East, and she bought all the attire, and she said she ran into an Australian couple who the wife was attired correctly, and apparently her little, the little burqa, they have a little wrap in here to keep the hair up, and I guess her blonde hair popped out during a photo, and an officer came and made them delete the photo. He said, "You must unlock your phone." And the husband said, "The hell I will." He said, "I'll arrest you and your wife, and I'll separate you. So you either do it now or you go to jail." And so he unlocked his phone and they deleted the photo, and then they gave him the phone back and said, "Don't do that again. Her hair has to be correct." And then they waited there till she corrected it. And then they said, "Okay, now you can take your pictures." True story. Anyway, moving on. Western Hemisphere. We had a lot going on in the Western Hemisphere. So Argentina, inflation is down, poverty up as Milei takes chainsaw to Argentina's economy. This is from Al Jazeera. In his first year of presidency, Milei's commitment to a draconian fiscal adjustment has begun to change a country that was prone to economic stagnation and runaway inflation, driven by years of wild money printing that paid for government deficit spending. Unfortunately, when you print that much money and you create that bad an inflation, the only way to fix it is something drastic like Milei is doing. He's not wrong, but it sucks. People get laid off. People, it's just bad. It's tough. Poverty is up because now things are unaffordable, but businesses are returning. Investment is returning. So by the end of his term, he may have turned this whole thing around. Mexico, tourism officials moved to end airport taxi abuses at Cancun International. Tourism authorities in Cancun are working to improve transportation, mobility, and the traveler experience at Cancun International Airport, according to a recent announcement by Quintana Roo Tourism Minister Bernardo Cueto Riestra. Important, again, if you go overseas, understand what you're getting into. Moving on next, Mexico. Mexico detains, that's from Mexico Daily News. The next one's from Reuters. Mexico detains suspects in death of migration agent near the U.S. border. 3 suspects were arrested on Monday in the death of a Mexican migration agent who was found earlier in the day with no signs of life, state security and migration officials said. So it's kind of like one of their Border Patrol guys got killed. Trinidad and Tobago, which is the island nations just off of Venezuela. Trinidad and Tobago declare a state of emergency and expected spike in gang violence. I can't talk tonight. Reuters, that's from Reuters. Trinidad and Tobago declared a state of emergency on Monday as the government braced for reprisal shootings after an attempt on a gang leader's life. Again, going to these countries, do some research, understand. State Department actually has really good information. If you want to travel to a country, you can pull all their alerts, their reports, recent occurrences. You probably don't want to go to Trinidad if they're in the middle of a gang war between 2 cartels. Just saying. Might want to go somewhere else. Venezuela to free an additional 413 election protesters. That's also from Reuters. Venezuelan Attorney General Tarek Saab said on Monday that 413 more people arrested over election protests will now be freed, making the total number of prisoners released to 1,369. That does not include the people who were protesting that just straight up got shot by the soldiers or got run over by armored vehicles while they were breaking everything up. So a few other updates. There is a report. There is an internal division in the Sinaloa cartel. It's becoming a violent conflict, and Sinaloa is a very big cartel with a lot of money and a lot of guns and a lot of people. So they're having some kind of civil war between 2 factions. The conflict has paralyzed the city of Culiacan and other parts of the Sinaloa province. Again, if you got to go overseas, I know a lot of you say, well, I'll just never go overseas. Yeah, but the reality is people work and they do that. So, be mindful if you have friends that do that. Tell them what's going on. Consular messages. Let's see. Burundi as travel advisory. Turkey. Oh, Turkey. There's an alert in Turkey for the first few weeks of January. A large organized pro-Palestinian demonstration involving thousands of participants is scheduled to take place in Galata Bridge in Istanbul. Now, granted, Turkey will straight up shoot and execute protesters, but they also keep it under control, right? So these are things you may want to know if before you go on trips. Middle East, Lebanon is now a level 4 advisory. Do not travel to that country. Updated to reflect the lifting of ordered departure of non-mission employed eligible family members and the lifting of unauthorized departure of mission employees and non-essential U.S. direct hire employees. So basically, if you are a non-essential person in the U.S. Embassy or other business, you are a no travel. Not that one would want to go in the middle of where Israel and Hezbollah are having a fight, but some people do. And let's see what else. Guatemala, level 3 advisory, reconsider travel, but they don't state why, which is kind of useless. And boys and girls, that is it for this one. Just to give you guys some clarity, and again, this is the whole reason I created this channel. Really was trying to be prepared while you're traveling, because when I started the channel, I was all over the place. You need to plan out your routes. You need to plan out your trips. Understand and learn what you can and cannot take on with your carry-on, as opposed to your checked luggage, and get creative with how you do it. You notice there's a lot of travel advisories right now. Americans, not the most popular folks in the world. And if we go, and Canadians are not far behind, we go over there and they don't like what we did, you're going to jail or you're going to get hurt. Be smart in how you plan out your trips. I highly recommend State Department, other travel agencies will do reviews. Do some homework. Don't just Google it. I mean, dig into some of these websites and find out what's the situation where I'm going. You could do this domestically if you're going from Dallas to Chicago, right? 2 totally different cities, different environment, different politics. Do some homework on Chicago. Know what you're getting into. What are they wearing on the street? What temperature is it? Everything from that to where's the nearest restaurant from the hotel? Does my hotel have a restaurant and bar in it so I don't have to go wandering around a city I'm not familiar with? These make huge differences if something happens, whether it's a terror attack or a riot or just really horrendous weather, a blizzard, a hurricane. Plan your trips out as best you can. Now, sometimes you just can't. There's an emergency. You grab your bags, you're in the truck or the plane, and you're off. I get that. But there's no reason why you can't at least be in the habit of having certain things packed all the time, or making sure your rechargeable batteries for recharging your phone are always charged. At least once a month, I pull everything, the jackeries, all the little USB charging stations, the ones that you take with you in the airplane, the little charger bags. I charge everything. Charge my little USB flashlights. I want to make sure everything's as charged as possible once a month, so that I know I have the maximum charge, car's in the best shape I can possibly keep it in, all that good stuff. So anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining me again. God bless. Be safe out there, and I will see you guys on the next video. Take care of yourselves.